What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning David Benavidez. Get this. David Benavidez states that they let Canelo Alvarez do whatever he wants. That's why he got such a short suspension. Wow. David Benavidez hopes Jose Uzcategui serves more than a 6-month suspension for failing a pre-fight test for a performance-enhancing drug last month. Benavidez believes that if punishment from the Boxing Commission in the United States isn't consistently upheld with the potential lethal consequences of using PEDs, it won't deter fighters from trying to cheat. Venezuela's Uzcategui tested positive for recombinant erythropoietin, which is EPO, during a test administered by the Voluntary Anti-Doping Association, VADA, which runs the WBC's clean boxing program, and was removed from their fight. The unbeaten Benavidez instead will encounter Kyron Davis in the 12th-round main event Saturday night on Showtime Championship Boxing, a doubleheader from Footprint Center in Phoenix, Arizona, Benavidez's hometown. Hasn't forgotten Uzcategui's transgression. This is definitely something that has to be taken very seriously, Benavidez told BoxingScene.com. Steroids is a serious problem. You know, he has to pay the punishment. I definitely feel like he needs to be punished a little bit more than 6 months. The 24-year-old Benavidez also pointed out that Canelo Alvarez served a suspension that he considers too short for his PED ordeal early in 2018. Alvarez tested positive twice for clenbuterol in February of 2018, which led to the Nevada State Athletic Commission suspending him for 6 months. Failing those tests caused Alvarez's lucrative middleweight championship rematch versus rival Gennady Golovkin to be postponed for 4 months, from May 2018 until September 2018. Alvarez, 31, has long claimed that eating the contaminated meat in his native Mexico triggered his positive test for clenbuterol, which has a similar effect on athletes to steroids. They were very lenient on Canelo, he said. They let Canelo do whatever he wants. That's why he was able to get the short suspension. Suspensions for PED should be for almost 1.5 years. It's nothing to play with. I think people have to be punished more. Okay, let me counterpunch. David Benavidez hopes Uzcategui gets more time. The athletic commission should be more lenient, it's more stringent and less lenient. And I have to agree with David Benavidez. I think if they really cared about fighters getting or doing drugs, PEDs, or banned substances, I think it should be. Okay? I think he's absolutely right. But there's only one problem with David Benavidez, right? And it's this. Bam! Cocaine use. On September 18th, 2018, it was reported that Benavidez, in the same year that Canelo popped dirty for clenbuterol, has tested positive for cocaine from a urine sample collected on August 27th by the Voluntary Anti-Doping Agency, VADA, as well. He was eventually stripped of his title and received a 4-month-long suspension through February 2019 by the WBC. Now, see, this is what I'm talking about. You can't expect a fighter that got popped and only did 4 months, to be passing judgment on another fighter, okay? From banned substances and PEDs, they're all in the same ballpark. They're all riding in the same car, okay? And David Benavidez now wants to be, hey, yeah, I think he gets away with whatever he wants. Well, he spent 2 more months longer than you, okay, in suspension. versus you doing cocaine, which something is probably worse than PEDs altogether. Okay, you supposed to be a professional fighter and you get popped with PEDs. It ain't like you were smoking marijuana or something like that, but either way, you have to be in control of what goes into your body as well. Okay, because it sounds hypocritical to me that he wants a longer suspension for PEDs than cocaine. Because it seems like, if anything, if you're doing cocaine, right, that speeds your heart up. That does a lot of things. Look at Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson himself has went out, and he's another guy that did cocaine throughout his career. He had people pissing for him. He had clean urine. He didn't piss himself. He got away with a lot of things himself, but he was knocking people out nonetheless. So how do we know that that didn't contribute to just being hyped up on coke? You know what I mean? David Benavidez is walking around with the coke throat and the cocaine mouth, and he wants to talk about someone else doing something that he's done. Okay, all that's bad. It's a reason why it's a PED. It's a reason why it's a banned substance. They're all bad for you. Okay, some of them advantage you. Some of them advantage you, but they're all bad for your body at the end of the day. You keep doing enough PEDs, it's going to eventually do the opposite of what it's supposed to do. PEDs and banned substances. Okay, they're going to eventually do damage to your body. And David Benavidez should have acknowledged that. And that's one thing that I don't like a fighter to do. You want a longer term for somebody else, but you don't want a longer term for yourself. You did 4 months. You got your belt stripped, and you did 4 months for testing positive for cocaine. Okay? There is nothing else that you can look at. There ain't a minute cocaine in something else. This ain't 1911 when you can drink a Coca-Cola and you had cocaine in it. Okay? If you were doing coke, you were doing it for a reason. You were deliberately doing it. There was no other way that it got in there. What, you were in a club in Miami and you touched a dollar bill that someone wrote? No. It got through your skin? No. You were doing it because you were doing it. So they could apply that same scrutiny on you for doing what you did the same year that Canelo Alvarez got popped. You guys both got popped in the same year, so how can you have something to say about that man? Uzcategui, I get it, he wanted to fight him, and I get it, he's frustrated. I get he's like, hey, you know what? I hope he gets longer, but then you should know better. That ain't been that long ago. You know what I mean? You think we're going to forget about that positive test for cocaine? We're not going to forget about that. That's why you didn't fight Canelo versus Caleb Plant, because you lost your belt. Counterpunch. So a lot of this stuff goes to show you that people don't look in the mirror. They'll look at someone else before looking in the mirror. They look in the mirror first. Examine yourself first. What is your wrongdoings before you point the finger at someone else? So no, that had nothing to do with Canelo Alvarez. First of all, it really, not saying he's not true or truthful about what he's saying. It's just he's not acknowledging himself of wrongdoing. Okay, that's the problem with David Benavidez. Yes, Canelo probably should have had more time. Actually, I think they all should be fined. Okay, you do the crime, you got to do the time. You're a professional fighter, so if you're in the clean boxing program, you're with VADA, it doesn't matter what is in your system. If it doesn't supposed to be there, you're supposed to be suspended and you're supposed to be fined. Okay? I think they should add money onto it, because nothing breaks like your pockets. Bust the pockets. That'll get people's minds right. But David Benavidez has no room to talk, having the shortest suspension that I've ever seen. I've never seen a 4-month suspension for any fighter. So he had a slap on the wrist and he expects someone else to get their hand cut off. Impossible. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think of David Benavidez and his opinion on Canelo Alvarez and Jose Uzcategui. Should be a longer ban or a longer suspension. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.